Greetings. Welcome to another broadcast of I Have a Testimony. I'm your host, Brother Willie Muhammad.
God came to us to seek and to save that which was lost. He raised a man from among us.
He, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, laid the foundation. What I'm doing is something that comes from him through me, and the thing that he uses in me to do the work is my faith in him and the word that he taught. To produce men and women who wanted to clean up their life and build an independent nation for the glory of God.
Today, brothers and sisters, we have with us another one of the great helpers of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He's a dynamic speaker who lights up the rostrum every time I've seen him on it, in my humble opinion. He hails from the city of Indianapolis, Indiana, and from that beautiful mosque, often referred to as the Miracle on 38th Street, is our brother Nuri Muhammad.
So when I step in the door, I know that I'm loved. And I already know him because you couldn't love me if he didn't. So
you all black man in some skinny jeans? Come on, black man. Hey, don't you know that your behind side wasn't even made for the regular white man jeans? We've been having the 501 blues. We have to recognize we are at war. Let's see what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has to say.
And we're back. Assalamu alaikum, dear brother, and thank you for accepting our invitation to be a guest on the show.
Man, wa alaikum salam, Brother Willie. It is my honor and privilege to share space and time with you, mighty warrior. That clip just gave me chills.
Me too. And I pray that it does the same for our viewers who are watching this interview today and afterwards when we post it online. So we'll get straight to it, my brother. I first would like to begin this interview by asking you a question that's going to require you to reflect over your life. You know, Allah, from my view and my opinion, is using you in this cause and this mission to help the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in his work of resurrection. When you reflect over your life, from your childhood to your teenage experiences, are there any experiences that you now looking back at, you see how those experiences were preparation for the work that you're doing now?
Wow. Yes, sir. All praise is due to Allah. And I want to say, Brother Willie, just first of all, how grateful that I am and we are as a community of believers in the nation under the leadership of the minister and really black people in general for your consistency and your persistency with this I Have a Testimony broadcast. Whenever you invited me and I thought about that ayat, a verse from the Quran that says, and who is more unjust than he or she who has a testimony and hides it while they have one. So I thought about that. I said, man, this is such a wonderful platform because our people, you know, we are taught in school about Helen Keller and we read it and we are inspired and we see her. She was mute, she was blind, she was deaf at 20 months old. And it's inspirational to see someone with more handicaps accomplish so much and we have less handicaps. but it's something unique and special about the Black experience here in the wilderness of North America that I'm thankful to Allah that you highlight. Though those that came up, you know, in the trenches and in the concrete jungle, and to become civilized or whatever degree of successful. I'm thankful that my upbringing was as such that you know, I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth or have that traditional nuclear family structure. I had a strong Black mother that I never seen complain. I never seen her sad. I never seen her depressed. I always seen her with great fight, drive, and focus and resilience. And she was a go-getter to make sure we had what basic necessities of life that we did. So that's my first interaction with any degree of inherited preparation for this assignment, was that great, strong Black mother that I had. Didn't do a lot of kissing and hugging and a lot of I love yous through word form, but set a strong example of fight, drive, focus, resilience, never being down, never depressed, never sad, never too flustered or bothered by no circumstance in life. She was my first inherited preparation on the journey.
Praise be to Allah. We thank Mom for all that she has done and is doing. And my next question, I know I've heard you tell this story when you come to the city of New Orleans, and on some other interviews. I don't know if anybody else may have, but can you share with the audience how you were introduced to Islam as taught by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Yeah, well, you know, what happened, you know how Black people, what had happened was I was, you know, the neighborhood I grew up in was the I guess you could call it the dope capital of the city. It's where all the dope was sold. So everybody in my neighborhood, we all hustled. So I dibbled and dabbled and got involved in hustling. And I didn't like the way I was feeling, Brother Willie, selling dope. I felt myself dying on the inside while I was killing my people. And so at a very young age, I was maybe 16, sitting on the porch, and we was getting money. Me and my partner at 15, we was doing a half ounce a day and an ounce on the weekends of powder cocaine. Each we was making $3,000 to $5,000 a piece back in 1989, 1990. So we was doing, you know, good financially, but I didn't like the way I felt. So I quit. And the only thing I knew to get right was to go back to church. And I tried. I went to the Bible study, the Sunday school, both the services. But anybody that's ever been in the streets knows that it's just as hard to stop selling as it is to stop using, because both of us, or both people, are addicts. One's addicted to the drug, the other one's addicted to the money or the fame that come from it. So I was somewhat addicted, went to church trying to get strength to resist the pull of the streets. And I didn't feel like what I was receiving was giving me the resistance to the streets. But at that time, I had a girlfriend whose father was a supporter of the nation, who had been taking her and her brother to see the minister speak everywhere he spoke in the Midwest, for the most part, Savior's Day, since they were 4 years old. So he was very familiar with the teachings and was a supporter or a sympathizer. So she started studying the teachings later in life when we were boyfriending and girlfriending, and introduced me to the teachings. Gave me 2 tapes of the minister, Illinois State University, and another one from Michigan State, By the Time Surely Man Is at Loss, and one book called Message to the Black Man. And I started reading and listening to those lectures, and I knew this is the way that I have been believing all of my life. And I committed myself to Islam, joined at 17, And really, in my mind, from the outside looking in, brother Willie, I thought y'all was way too disciplined for me to live this kind of life. I'm like, I ain't gonna be able to do all that. Matter of fact, I will do it, but I'm gonna have to be a little older than this. I'm getting ready to play around a little longer before I join. But I made up in my mind. I said, well, if you can prove it to be untrue, then leave it alone. But if you can't, you're going to commit yourself 100% to it. And that was a pact or a contract I made with myself. I spent 8, 9, 10 hours a day sometimes studying to the library trying to disprove the teachings. I'd bring my little argument to a brother on doorpost, wasn't even in the ministry, on the roster, had no post, and he would destroy my argument within 5 minutes. And I said, let me go ahead and submit. So I joined because my girlfriend at the time introduced me to the teachings. 2 months later, she joined.
Wow.
And a year and a half after that, we got married at the age of 19.
Wow.
And she's been my wife and my partner in the mission now for 27 years.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful, man. I always like hearing that testimony, man, and that how you came to Islam. And it's interesting because you said something that leads up to the next question. You mentioned how you accepted at 17, you got married at 19, and you know, in most religious communities, when it comes to selecting pastoral leadership, there's often a lot of questioning and doubt when the subject of appointing someone who's considered to be young as a head pastor, head minister. And for many in that community, they may say young is 30, early 30s, early 40s, but you were in the position of being over a mosque in the Nation of Islam, if my memory serves me correct, at the age of 19, right?
Well, officially, I was the minister at 20.
Yeah.
But I had became the interim minister earlier than that. And I became, and we were going through some major problems in the mosque whenever I became the interim minister. And at the time, you know, I never wanted to be in the ministry, Brother Willie. When I first came to the mosque, I told everybody, you will never catch me in no dress shoes. You always see me in soldiering boots. I don't know if you remember back in the day, them high-tech boots we used to wear.
High-tech boots, I remember.
Them police boots, something like a tennis shoe, something like a boot.
Yep.
Man, I had them things blasted out. You couldn't tell me. This is what I'm came to be, a soldier. But what hurt me is that I felt like that I had been living my life not knowing this knowledge. And so I started trying to play catch up on the study. And by doing so, I committed 8 hours a day, even while I was in high school, studying the teachings, trying to catch up on what I think I should have learned all my life. And because of that, I guess my comments at the study group and in my interaction with the believers, they felt like that I was somebody that should be in the ministry because of the knowledge that I was representing. And they kept encouraging the student minister at the time to put me on a rostrum. And one day he asked me on a Wednesday night, he asked me, he said, I want you to open up. I said, you mean open up like teach? I only been registered 3 months. He said, yeah. I said, I'm not feeling good. And to be honest, I was feeling just fine until he asked me to go say something. I immediately got sick. But because of studying, he ended up finding out I didn't do it, and then told me that Sunday, I heard, rumor has it you were scared. And you can't tell no black man he's scared. So I was like, no, sir, I wasn't scared. I just wasn't feeling good. He said, how you feeling now? I said, I'm fine, sir. He said, good, you on in 5 minutes. I was like, well, hold on a minute. But I went up, everybody's clapping, responding, standing. I said, oh, they so nice. They trying to cheer on this little young brother, encouraging me. I know this ain't genuine. I am not really doing this good. They just doing this as support. But they believed that I was doing that well at teaching. And so I became an assistant minister 17 years of age, 4 months in the mosque, and then the interim minister. And because of how many problems we had, our leadership from headquarters had come and told everybody, you know, don't you all get used to him being your minister. Me, he's too young to be a minister, especially with all the problems that you all have had. So I know you all like the way he teaches, but don't get used to him being your minister. We're going to have to figure something out. So I was the interim minister for 6 months, and we tripled in ranks and became the most outstanding study group in 6 months. And the minister wrote a letter to the mosque and installed me as the minister, which, you know, of course, I would say it's less of a testimony to my greatness at a young age and more of the testimony to the minister's insight and his love for propelling young people into the positions of leadership. A lot of religious movements have youth programs and special little niches they carve out for young people. But the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has raised the nation. It in and of itself is a youth program. So I wasn't in some special wing of youth ministry. He made me a minister at 20 years of age. And all praise is due to Allah. We've been trying our best to show that he made a good decision since then.
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful, man. Beautiful. So we're coming up on our first break before we go to before we come back. So for you all who are tuning in, please stay tuned in. Make sure you share this interview. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, and we'll be back to have more of our interview with our brother Nuri Muhammad.
Be a part of the force that powers truth in journalism. Your support helps us to highlight solutions for a brighter tomorrow. Go to nnvnews.com/donate.
Now you can get the same uncompromising truth you've come to expect from the Final Call newspaper on all your connected devices. Subscribe to the Final Call Digital Edition today. Go to subscribe.finalcalldigital.com.
The hashtag Bank Black social media campaign made strides not only in revolutionizing how we bank, but also how we think. The movement inspired thousands of African Americans across the country to transfer or deposit millions of dollars into Black-owned banks. These are banks that will invest in urban communities, employ African Americans, support Black businesses, and inspire Black home ownership. This is a very proud moment for our culture as we are taking small, but significant, steps towards building Black power through Black wealth.
Please share your thoughts with us in the comment section below. Follow us on social media at NNV News, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel at National Network View. I am Anissa Muhammad with nnvnews.com.
And welcome back, brothers and sisters. We're back with our guest, Brother Nuri Muhammad. And I'll ask you this next question. In your years of being in the Nation of Islam, what would you say has been one of your most memorable moments as a member?
Wow. I would have to say my first Savior's Day that I was able to go to as a registered member of the nation. The impact of the social environment of the believers gathered in one space, and to be able to feel the love from brothers and sisters that weren't your biological relatives, didn't grow up where you grew up, didn't really know you, but because you were so and so 2X and they were so and so 3X, and this was brother and sister Muhammad, the fact that that kind of love was produced by the minister's example, his teachings, and the culture of the nation. That was one of my most memorable moments. And it was kind of like the way that Black men expressed the way they felt at the Million Man March. See, you know, whether we admit it or not, almost all Black people, we from Missouri, we from the show me state. So we want to see it before we can believe it. And the real truth is, seeing is not believing. Believing is seeing, but that's another subject for another time. But the fact that Savior's Day represented inside of that facility a glimpse of Black people cooperating with one another with love and unity, compassion, and with a militant propensity still present, reminded me personally that we can make this happen. We can turn the hood into heaven, the ghetto into God's kingdom, and we can make the promised land in the projects. We really can establish the kingdom of God on earth as the people of God. That had to be my number one, or my first big moment that let me know that yes, we can in fact make his word bond.
Beautiful. And you know, you're one of the very few student ministers from America who've had the opportunity to teach audiences outside of America. I know we've talked, you had the opportunity to teach in the UK, as the image shows, as in various of the Caribbean islands that you have spoken in. You know, for most of us, we only had that experience of teaching the teachings in America. So how was those experiences, and how did you prepare for such?
Well, the beauty of it is that, as you know, Brother Willie, we were already told by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad when he was commissioning some of the soldiers to go to Mexico and teach. And they asked him, you know, well, what should I teach? He said, the same teachings that you teach here. So I took that, like most of us do or should, that the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, when it's the message to the Black man, it's not the message to the Black man in New York. It's not a different message to the Black man in Indiana than it is in California. It's not a different message to the Black man in Belize, Guyana, Jamaica, or wherever. The UK, the message to the Black man is the message to the Black man. So they still need the life-giving teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and they need the scriptures of the Bible and Holy Quran broken down where they can see themselves in the equation like the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad has done. So that my preparation for it was the same as here in the West. And I told myself, I said, well, why would this, for instance, in Guyana, you're talking about the actual president of the country wanted me to be there. And they had committed to get me to come. They created what was called Elijah Muhammad Week. I said, oh yeah, well, let's go. And we were able to go and speak to the parliament, the party that was in power, the party that was considered to be the opposition party. We spoke to that. One of those pictures you shown was a picture of every school teacher in the country. Right there. That's every school teacher that exists in the country of Guyana. And they had to have them in an outdoor arena. And I was speaking to all of the teachers, met the mayors, etc. But what made them want me to be there was what they considered to be my breakdown of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in a way that they thought they could really benefit from. So because my resume was the work in America, I figured I should go and do the same thing. And by Allah's grace, I think we had a great running. I've been in Jamaica as well, and I was invited to do the keynote for the 100th year anniversary of the UNIA, Marcus Garvey's movement, right there at Liberty Hall. So it's the teachings. It's the teachings and the explanation of unity and the belief in their ability to do it. That's why they brought me. So I tried to go and represent. You know, it was like we was at the rostrum in Mosque 74, Mosque 46.
Praise be to Allah. Now, in the preparation for this interview, you know, we go through and try to find images and different things that we can use for the B-roll footage.
Oh, Lord.
And we know and we noticed that in addition to you highlighting and promoting the works of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and displaying the work that you are doing, you also have a balance where you show where with you and your family just enjoying life, you know. And the question that we will ask, why do you do that? Let me ask you that. Why do you also just post those pictures as well?
Wow. Well, part of it is, you know, it's many reasons, but one of the things that Master Father Muhammad gave us as a mandate to really give us longevity in this mission, he said to us as his original rule of instruction, he said, work cheerfully and fear not, you are the righteous, the best, and the powerful. So I have a saying that if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. So working cheerfully is the mandate and directive God gave to us in the person of Master Father Muhammad. So that's one aspect of it, is to show people that you can still have joy and soldier. You can still be clashing with injustice, white supremacy, polytheism, and falsehood, and still have a life that is filled with love, peace, joy, and happiness. And then, of course, for most of our people, when you meet them around the world, Brother Willie, and in the United States, there are many of our talented, great thinkers, speakers, teachers, organizers, but they have compromised their integrity or their commitment to their people in order to get personal economic gain. And in their mind, they tell others that the only way that you're going to be able to go up the economic ladder of success to have a regular, fruitful life where you have a home that you like, a car that you like, and you got some money in your pocket, is you're going to have a certain amount of compromise with the devil's world, and you're going to have to punk out to some percentage on the cause for the liberation and salvation of your people. So I wanted to show, or try to show, that look, I have not buck danced, bowed down, compromised, capitulated. I have not in no shape, form, or fashion made any negotiation to be less of what we're supposed to be able to have this kind of stuff. So I like to show the bourgeois, the Uncle Tom, the Aunt Jane, the Uncle Remuses, the sellout, that you don't have to punk out on your people, and you don't have to punk out on God's morals to still be able to have all the stuff that you think you have to punk out to get. So I do it for that sake, you know, both of those reasons, and in hopes that it will inspire us to know that you can keep your morals and have some money.
Right.
You can keep your character in place and still get you some chips, that you don't have to sell out Allah to get the dollar. You can have Allah and the dollar if you want it. So those things are those are some of the motivating factors behind it, and really to inspire the young soldier to, you know, choose choose as your career path to be a minister in the nation. Choose as your career path to be one of the laborers that will help the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan bring about the end of this world and the establishment of a righteous world. Choose it as a career path, and you'll be able to have all that you want and more if you stay consistent.
Beautiful, beautiful. So time, it goes by so fast when we're having these interviews. We're up on our next break. So for those who are watching, stay tuned, continue to share and invite others to do the same. And we'll be back with more of our interview with our brother Nuri Muhammad.
Be a part of the force that powers truth in journalism. Your support helps to combat false media. Cash App, NNV News.
AsiaticMinds.com. Online education, helping our children to discover their God-given skills, gifts, talents, and passion that will allow them to see their greatness, as well as the greatness of our people. And upon discovering that greatness, infusing them with the desire to use it for the betterment of themselves, their families, our people, and the world. 2022 through 23 enrollment waiting list open now. Visit AsiaticMinds.com.
Worldwide, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Download the Final Call Radio app and take us everywhere. On your phone, on your computer, on your tablet, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also log on to finalcall.com and click the Listen Live button, or finalcallradio.com. Final Call Radio, the official voice of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam.
Thank you for tuning in to NNV News. Please share your thoughts with us in the comments section below. Follow us on social media at NNV News, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel, National Network View. This is Clifton Muhammad with NNVnews.com.
We're back, brothers and sisters, to continue our interview with Brother Nuri Muhammad. And I would like to, we've been talking, you've mentioned the minister somewhat, you've mentioned the minister throughout this interview. And of course, we wouldn't even be here if it were not for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. These next questions are going to be some more specific ones relating to him. So, you know, the title of this show is I Have a Testimony. And the motive behind it was to really to get people who've had the interaction with the minister, that they can share those experiences and things that they've observed, to really get people to see the beauty of this man. So my question I would like to ask you is, if you had the opportunity to stand before the world and share some of the great qualities of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, what qualities would you testify of before the world?
Wow. I'd probably show up with the list of the 99 attributes of Allah and lay them out and show how that this man is the manifestation of all 99 attributes in perfect harmony and balance. So I always tell people that they always say, man, what is it like, man, to be, how's the minister? I said, man, he's all God all the time. He's all God all the time. He does have a beautiful sense of humor. He's very sharp with being able to pull circumstances, events out of the environment that you're communicating with and make it relevant to the teachings. But I would say about the minister really, really go down the list: beneficent, merciful, he's humble, he's tolerant, he's courteous, he's understanding. He's of course insightful and wise. And imagine, sisters and brothers, just imagine when you're listening to a public lecture of the minister, you're listening to him teach on a subject in a way that is more user-friendly to someone that has never heard or comprehended the truth before. So there is in his expression, there's a high level of consideration for the unlearned ear and the unlearned mind. But whenever he's in a private setting, you get a chance to hear him teach on various subjects with so much width, depth, and breadth that it's mind-blowing sometimes, the amount of insight and wisdom that the minister has on any circumstance, subject, or issue of life. I've never been in the presence of the minister and not learned beyond anything I ever read again later on. That's how great of a mind that Allah has blessed him with for us. So I would lift, really, Brother Willie, I would lift all 99 attributes of Allah and say he is the manifestation of them in perfect harmony and balance. And of course, that should inspire us, because he's not been put in front of us to be cheerleaded for or just to be celebrated. He's put in front of us as an example. And you know, as a school teacher, that if you give a student a test, it's more challenging to get the answers right when you don't know the formula. But if you can give a test to your students, and at the top of the page there's an example which gives the student the formula on how to solve all the rest of those problems, then that example at the top of the page makes it much easier for the student to work that formula and come out with a passing grade. In my humble opinion, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the example at the top of the page of life. And if we follow the formula that he demonstrates, we'll solve all of our problems, get all the answers right, and come out with a good passing grade with God.
That is definitely true. And you talked about how, you know, even in the private settings, how he's still all God, right? And I wonder sometimes how people just don't realize how hard the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan works, you know, just to get our people to see the best in themselves. Can you think of anything that you have heard the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan say at a table setting, you know, a private moment, that anything you've heard him say, or even stuff you've actually seen that shows how hard he works to get our people to see the best of themselves?
Man, what a good point, Brother Willie. I was thinking about when you said that, you know, the Beatitudes. That is another description of the minister, in my humble opinion. But one of the Beatitudes, it said, blessed are the pure at heart, for they shall see God. And look at the minister. He said, and I would add to that, everywhere you look. So one of the things, as you know, Brother Willie, and those that have come to the witness stand, everywhere the minister look, every person that he looks at, he is able to see. Look, listen to this. He can see your good better than you can see your own. And when he talks to you, he shows you that he has seen into your heart, and he exposes to everyone the best version of themselves. So to me, that's a testimony of the verification that this man really is pure of heart, because he can see God everywhere he looks. And for he does it for me. Never have you been around the minister and he's pushed you down. He always lifts you up. Even in correction, the minister has so much tact and care, even in correction, that he'll correct you sometime and it won't even hit you till you're gone. But he always, even in correction, he builds you up, corrects you on whatever was done or should have been done different. And then he'll build you up so much that even though you're bothered by making the mistake, he will make you feel like you're so strong, you're so great, that this is a small thing for you to be able to step over and do much better in the future. So I have a lot of individual ones, but I think that they're kind of personal from what he said. But I know that every time anybody meets him, I watch people that he meets for the first time cry when he tells them where they are, the struggles they've been going through, what they've experienced in life, and how beautiful it's made them in the present and how great it's going to make them in the future. That's the minister. He really is that pure of heart that can see God everywhere he looks.
Definitely. And what would you say is one of, this may be, it's probably so many, but I would ask, what would you say has been one of your most memorable moments that you've shared with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan?
Well, that's one right there. But the the private sit downs. I've been blessed to have some small private dinners, not at the main table, but at the small table off the kitchen, riding in a vehicle with him, being in the hotel room with him, watching him do interviews on the phone, blessed to even be standing with him and watching him have meetings and solve problems and deal with kings and rulers and people that this world considers to be great stars and luminaries, watching him handle them. But those private settings, being able to go in a vehicle, sit in the back seat with the minister and ride around and talk, those kind of moments, or being able to just have coffee, just you and him being able to say to you what he wants to say to you, and not have to worry about the ears of others. I have a few of those kind of moments, and those are the ones that really stick with me the most. But I am going to say that I try my best. I learned something later in my Islam, that you're not supposed to highlight the Holy Quran. A lot of people don't know that. And I learned it from the minister. When I got my Holy Quran, I was picking my favorite verses, highlighting them like I used to do the Bible. And the minister said one time, he said, we don't highlight the Holy Quran. He said, who are we to say which verse is more important than the other one? I said, I never looked at it like that. But from that principle, I've been trying to tell myself, look, don't take for granted any time, public or private, that you get a chance to be with the minister. Make all of it to you, Holy Quran. Don't highlight none of them. Absorb them all, for all of them have their specialness in the cycle of time, and in hoping to develop you into what you should be as a helper of him. So I've been kind of trying my best not to discriminate, Brother Willie. I've been trying not to discriminate or categorize or highlight my Quran experiences with this man.
Beautiful.
Try to take all of them as, thus saith the Lord.
Beautiful, beautiful. So we're coming up on our last break, brothers and sisters, and we'll be back to conclude this interview with our brother Nuri Muhammad. So stay tuned.
Be a part of the force that powers truth in journalism. Your support helps us to highlight solutions for a brighter tomorrow. Go to nnvnews.com/donate.
Individually, we are poor when you compare us.
AsiaticMinds.com. Online education, helping our children to discover their God-given skills, gifts, talents, and passion that will allow them to see their greatness, as well as the greatness of our people. And upon discovering that greatness, infusing them with the desire to use it for the betterment of themselves, their families, our people, and the world. 2022 through 23 enrollment waiting list open now. Visit AsiaticMinds.com.
Please share your thoughts with us in the comment section below. Follow us on social media at NNV News, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel at National Network View. I am Anissa Muhammad with NNVnews.com.
Welcome back, brothers and sisters, and let's continue our interview with our brother Nuri Muhammad. The next two questions is based upon some tweets I saw that you posted. And in one tweet, it's all good. In one tweet, you said, quote, wherever success is, sacrifice was. And you know, I've noticed that far too often people see the successes of individuals, but really never know about the sacrifices that individuals have made to be successful, you know. And in my humble opinion, you are successful. You know, you talked about that, right? So what have been some of your sacrifices that you have made?
Well, the beauty of Allah and the way that He brings up all of us, really, He puts us in a position where we are faced normally with one or two doors that we can go through. We can go through the door of ease and get what you can see, or you can go through the door of challenge and sacrifice and get an unknown. But He promises you that the unknown is your purpose and it'll be greater. So that happens. It happens to all of us. As you said, Brother Willie, you don't hear about anybody that all the people that we look up to and admire, you know, shooting free throws at 3 o'clock in the morning, 1,000 free throws, 1,000 3-pointers. That's how a Steph Curry is produced. Floyd Mayweather, been boxing since he was 2 years of age, training since he was 4. That's how he is the way he is. You know, even y'all, you probably don't know somebody by the name of Master P or Cash Money Records. Y'all don't know about that down there in New Orleans. But they all were selling music out the trunk of their car. You know, some of them were living in their car. The curriculums of sacrifice is always present and presented to us by Allah whenever we are to do what he wants us to do. So in my little sojourn, it's been the same way. I remember when I first came, the first day I received a letter to be install myself as the minister. I think I got the letter faxed to me on a Monday, and I was supposed to go read it to all the believers on Wednesday night. But in between Monday and Wednesday, I was soldiering on the corner for a living. That's what I did. I soldiered, and I had put in an application for Ford. My grandfather worked at Ford, and at that time, you talking about 1996. They were starting me off at $17 an hour back then. That's like making $38 an hour right now. And I got a call, and my grandfather called me and told me, look, they've accepted it. They're going to let you come.
Wow.
Work. And I had just got the letter that I was going to be the minister. And I was like, okay, yes, sir. I said, I mean, in my mind, I don't think I'll work, and teach. I'll run the mosque, do my thing. I'll work in the daytime. And I said, well, that's fine. I said, what is the shift that I can work? He said, you have to work second shift. I said, second shift, what time is that? He said, 3:30 to midnight. I said, oh, I can't do that. I'll miss all the weekday meetings. He said, what are you talking about? I said, I just became the minister of the mosque. I have to be there. I have to be there. I can't just be coming on and be. I told my grandma, I said, I can't be no Sunday soldier or no weekend warrior and think that we're gonna be successful. I have to be there. He said, son, he said, listen to what I'm telling you. I'm saying they're going to pay you $17 an hour. I'm gonna let you think about it. You can give me your answer in a couple of days. I said, okay, but I'm convinced that I'm not gonna be able to do that job. If they can't put me on third, I'm not doing it. And lo and behold, 2 days later, he said, you still sticking to it? I said, yes, sir. It'll interfere with my purpose for living. So even though I didn't have something that I was giving up, I was making a sacrifice because of what I could have earned, especially with a new family. I had a child, had been married for a year, child on the way at the time. And I needed that kind of bread to, that's some good bread to function with. But I made that sacrifice. But I think that it's been like that for the whole beginning of the run, because when I first became a Muslim, my mother had told me either I had to go to the hall with her, she got back into Jehovah's Witness, or get out of her house. So I told her I'm leaving then. And the next day she told me, you don't have to go. But I chose. I didn't want to be there. I lived in the mosque my senior year in high school and slept on the floor on a piece of styrofoam with some sheets on it that I got from the Goodwill.
Wow.
So I lived in an environment. I had no television. All I had was a radio for lectures and books, but I slept on the floor for my whole senior year in high school and went to school from the mosque. I only went twice a week, but I'm not telling you I try that at home. Now don't try that at home. But I had a 4.0 GPA, straight A's, my senior year in high school. But I lived in the mosque and slept on the floor and went to the mosque every day, or went to school from the mosque every day. But the beauty of that is that because I had no television to watch, I had no access to no video games like children would be playing. Back then, there wasn't no Xbox and Nintendo. I had none of that. All I had was books and lectures. So all my downtime was really uptime. I studied all the time. And so, these are a couple of initial sacrifices. It hit like that again, Brother Willie, whenever we first got the mosque. We end up getting into a situation where the architect drew up the blueprint and the plan and the budget that he knew we had the cost to do the construction was almost 3 times that. So in order for us to finish it, I didn't get any charity from the mosque, and I couldn't work anywhere to do anything, not even soldier, because I had to be there 9 or 10 hours a day for 6 months while we were building the mosque. So I was the general contractor. So I got paid nothing. So my car got repossessed. My house got foreclosed on. And by the grace of Allah, you know, I'd already made an agreement with my wife and children, and they supported it. I said, look, this is something we're doing to set an example for our people and to have something worthy of the teachings. So I'm asking y'all, are y'all willing to live in here? If we have to, we'll live in this office. If we have to get this done, are y'all willing to do it? And they all said yes. So, you know, it's been that kind of sacrifice. So, you know, now though, I'll look at how Allah works. The home that I live in, I own it, free and clear. I have a Tesla, I own it, free and clear. We have other things, and you know, Allah's blessed us. I'm not a millionaire, but I'm walking it down with the help of Allah. And all that came though from making those sacrifices for this cause. And so that, you know, wherever success is, sacrifice was. Don't ever think that when you see somebody with something that they were without or weren't without something at one time. Most of the time, it's kind of like the arrow. If you can't have an arrow propel forward very far unless you're willing to stretch it. The farther you stretch the bow, the farther the arrow is going to go when you let it go. And I don't know how far I've been stretched, but I know I've felt like I've been stretched in the past. But I'm thankful to Allah that the arrow is moving forward now. And if it all comes down to doing it again for another phase, it shall be done. So all praise.
Beautiful, brother. Beautiful. And this is the last question based upon the tweet. So you said, quote, purpose, and you said, find it and find happiness, right? End of quote. You know, many struggle to find their purpose. And so my question is, from your studies, your life experiences, and your observations, what guidance can you share with the viewing audience that can help them find their purpose? And we'll close out on this question.
Yes, sir. Well, you know, I would like to quote something from a divine definition of how to find purpose from the minister in a message that he was delivering once for a holy day of atonement. He exposed the new educational paradigm that now has become our study guide 21. But in the lecture, I was sitting on the stage at Christ Universal Temple, and he said this. He said, I was looking up the definition of happiness. And he looked back at all of us that was sitting on stage. He said, no, not in the dictionary, but I consulted myself. And I remember thinking, yeah, well, who in the hell is Webster anyway? I'd much rather have a divine definition from God's man than something from where I don't know nothing about no Webster. So look at what the minister said. He said, I found that happiness comes when you have found your purpose for living and you are fulfilling that purpose. That soul then has an unspeakable joy. So that is where happiness comes from. It really doesn't come from filling full your pocket. It comes from fulfilling your purpose. And the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said this. He said, whatever you love to do and do well is more than likely what you're born to do. That's your purpose. What you love to do and do well is more than likely what you're born to do, or what your purpose is. Your purpose is that single activity of life that you do well with the least amount of effort. It's that thing that you would be willing to do it for free if you could. That's how much joy and satisfaction you get out of doing it. As long as you can live and survive and function and have a roof over your head, clothes on your back, and some food to eat, you wouldn't care about having the great luxuries of life if you was able to do that for the rest of your days without stress. That's your purpose. So look for that. Look for that thing. And the truth of the matter is, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said to us that if you train a child properly and feed them right, that by the time they reach the age 6, they'll know what they're born to do. Well, most of us have gone far beyond 6. So now we have to start doing a recap, or in this case, we got to be born again. Let's start eating the right foods again and training our mind properly, that maybe in 6 months or a year, or maybe in 6 years, we'll be able to refine our purpose for living and make our contribution to the onward and upward movement of God's way on this planet and the rise of our people. So I hope that answers the question, but you know, we have a general purpose. The general purpose of every human being on the earth, that biological innate purpose, is to grow and get better. You have a general purpose inside that biological purpose, which is to be a savior of your people, or those that are less fortunate than you. You got to look out for the less. And then you have inside of that a specific purpose, which may be engineering, teachership, architecture, maybe business, whatever it is. Find your niche, that single activity, that thing you love to do and do well, that thing that waters your soul, that you'd be willing to do for free if you could, as long as you had your gas, lights, water, food on table, clothes on your back. And happiness will be yours once and for all.
Beautiful, brother. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, my brother, for this opportunity, man. May Allah continue to bless you and your family and the believers there in the mighty city of Indianapolis. All right.
You as well, Brother Willie, and the mighty soldiers of Muhammad Mosque number 46 and our nation.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
And so for you all who are tuning in, we pray that you enjoyed this interview with our brother, student minister, Nuri Muhammad. And we ask that you stay tuned to our next, tune in next Sunday for our next interview. Thank you.
Go home and study. See, many of you don't study your religion. And you think you're going to attain something without study. But if you believe in something, you need to study it so you can become proficient in what you do. Now watch this. God came to us to seek and to save that which was lost. He raised a man from among us.
He, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, laid the foundation. What I'm doing is something that comes from him through me, and the thing that he uses in me to do the work is my faith in him and the word that he taught. To produce men and women who wanted to clean up their life and build an independent nation for the glory of God.